What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today we are going to take a look at the new artifact called Malison spell. And you get this artifact from the season quests of this season. This week it was actually released just today. And keep in mind, I have the monthly benefit activated. If you don't have the classic or premium gazette, you will actually receive this artifact next week. So that out of the way, let's talk about this artifact and what it actually does. It is an artifact that curses two enemies. And first of all, it curses the frontmost enemies. It says reducing their max HP by 30%. Actually, when we take a look into combat, and let's just use one stage here to kind of show this. Once we go into that, we see we have the Malison spell equipped here, and we start the battle. You will see after a small delay, curiously enough, there is a small delay, one of the bars of the enemy gets gray, and this is our curse. So this is basically the HP reduction. It works in a similar way as, for example, a Natsu HP reduction. Later on it is afflicted again. We have another one right there. Well, we had it there. Can we see it again, please? Would be rather nice. Yeah, you can see there is always a little bit of HP block. Partly this is from the Chimera, but right at the start you can actually see, and maybe I will just take away the Oberon and Olmus here. We'll just use a Kulu team for this. You can see there is the big part of the HP actually blocked right from the get-go, and this is the same effect that we actually see on Natsu and Chimera, just blocking off that part of the HP. And this is already pretty cool. I mean, interaction-wise, what could we do with it? In PvE, not too much. In PvP, however, I mean, the enemy is now more squishy. Up to 30% of the HP is essentially gone immediately. And this, of course, could be used to quickly take out this enemy, having that much less HP. On top of that, we have a Fizz and Magic Death reduction by 45%. So not bad at all. And this has a pretty good uptime as well. So we have at every 10 seconds at the start of the battle, and then every 10 seconds after, we cast those two curses. And they have an uptime of 8 seconds at level 20, 8.5 actually at level 25. So pretty much 85% of the time in the battle, this will be active. So that is pretty good, and that is a pretty good uptime. But this alone for PvP might not really be enough, because we just make one enemy essentially fairly vulnerable. But often enough, this enemy that is at the in the foremost slot is a tank. So if we fight a tank there and have like a Thorin, it doesn't really matter too much if they have 30% HP less than before. But that is one thing. The other curse that is way more interesting and that I want to talk more about is the Wither curse. Targets the farthest away enemy hero, reducing their attack speed by 70. Which is really substantial and will reduce the damage they do quite a lot. And then their attack range by 2 tiles. And this is something we really haven't interacted with a lot yet. So let's just try this out against Turtlelegs. This is Turtleleg's team right here. If you don't know who Turtlelegs is, definitely make sure you check him out on Twitch and on YouTube. He does great YouTube videos, quite often the battle drills videos. Those are particularly good. Those I like quite a lot. But what is quite interesting in this one is that he uses Sylvina. And Sylvina has a special ability that teleports her to our side instantly at the start of the battle. And quite curious enough, this artifact has that much of a delay in casting those curses that actually in this team, the frontmost hero will be Sylvina. So once we start the battle, you will notice she will teleport over, we have the Nero animation and everything, and then her HP will actually be blocked. So check this out. We have the Nero, then she teleports over, and then she actually gets cursed. You see the gray bar there. So it is not the frontmost hero at the position they have right when they are set. So in that case, that would have been actually our his Thorin, because that is the hero that in frontmost position. But no, it was actually Sylvina, because this curse was applied like 1 second after the fight started, which I thought was really, really interesting. You can watch the beginning of this one more time to see this. You would have thought it is the Thorin that gets the HP reduced, but no, we see it actually lands on Sylvina, and Thorin does not have his HP reduced. So this can make it a little bit unforeseeable, as you kind of have to predict the position of the heroes 0.5 seconds or something like that in the fight. So kind of interesting. And then we have the other part, the range reduction. The range reduction in this situation is something that lands on the backmost hero. And in our situation, we can just fight Turtlelegs again. 80 million power. Bloody hell. Insane. We can just fight them again. The game actually defines it, by the way. So this is something that I just want to show. The game gives you definitions in here, in the text for the hero that gets this applied. So targets the frontmost enemy hero, and they say, okay, look at that. In your side, it's on the left side there. That is your slot 2 in this case. And then on the enemy side, it's mirrored, and it wants to explain that to you. And I mean, in our starting situation, the Sylvina was positioned here and teleported over. So this would have made no sense. The farthest away enemy on the enemy side. Interestingly enough, in our case, that would have been the Sylvina. So the Sylvina was on the position that was farthest away enemy hero. So in the position where we usually would have expected her to get the Wither Curse, but due to her teleportation ability, got the Sapping Curse that is expected for the frontmost hero. Second backmost hero in that sense for Turtle Legs was of course the Bonnie. So right now, taking a look at this battle again, we see furthest away position is the Sylvina at the moment. We already know in advance that she will teleport, so that will not be her. She will be frontmost. And then the backmost position will be Bonnie. Bonnie has abilities that move her out of positions, but not for the first seconds of the battle. So she will get this curse applied to her. And we can see this when we start the fight. There will be a sword symbol below her HP bar. So we wait a second, we see the teleport, artifact actually activates, and there we go. There is the sword symbol that we expected, and now her range is debuffed, and also her attack speed is debuffed. The attack speed debuff, in most cases, from my experience, was a little bit stronger. Because you don't usually notice the range debuff. And that has some curious reasons that I want to go a little bit into, because this is quite a nice opportunity to talk about this topic, range, that we never really talk about, because, well, in most cases, you just feel it. That is at least mostly my approach. I look at the range, yeah, but then I want to see during the battle, how does the hero behave? Does it move towards the enemy? Does it stay behind? And ideally, what you want to have from a hero when you reduce their range is that they kind of leave their position. So ideally, what you would want if you were the enemy in this situation and you had this Withered Curse on the Chimera, you would kind of want her to move over a little bit more to this position so that you can target her with more abilities. Because enemies, of course, the further your enemy is towards the back, usually the safer they are. Because you have a tank that moves a little bit forward, then there's a lot of action in the middle of the battlefield, some abilities targeting more crowded areas, so there's a lot more damage here than there will be here. So this kind of means that you kind of want to have your heroes more towards the back usually. There are, of course, exceptions to this. We just saw the Sylvina, we saw heroes like Vala that targets backmost or other positions, and so you kind of have to play around with that. But ideally you would want to move the hero a little bit more forward so that they have to get to another position to cast their abilities as well, because that also takes time, makes the hero less efficient. So this is a very interesting way to do that. Question now, of course, is, does this work out? Well, there are some interactions that you can force. One interaction is with Kulu. You could reduce the range of a hero so much that their normal attacks force them to go over here and attack the wall. That could work. If we take a look, we usually get the range shown right here. Keep in mind, this range is not the range of all your abilities. This is the range of your normal attacks. This is basically what you do when you not cast an ability and still attack. That is your normal attack. So if we reduce the range of Chimera by 2, then her normal attacks will only have a range of 2, which is a little bit annoying for her, because, well, there will be heroes over here that she wants to attack. Usually the enemy has at least one melee hero though, so it might just be that she stops over here. And of course, as she's a ranged hero, she can attack over the stone. So she might actually not attack the wall at all, as long as the enemy has a melee hero that stands on the other side. But if there's only ranged heroes on the enemy side, she will go and actually attack the wall once her range is reduced like this, and will try to get to the enemy side, which is something you really don't want for her, because that will kind of remove her targeting from the enemy, will make her target the stone, and yeah, overall probably make it very likely that she will die. So this would be the optimal situation. This would be great. Like at this point, I would say, well, this is the Chimera counter. This is absolutely disastrous for her, because she will move to the enemy side and directly die. Usually your teams want to protect Chimera as much as possible until she can cast her ult and actually turn the tide of battle towards you. But we have a problem. And we have a problem that we kind of have to take a look at in the ability menu, specifically for Chimera, because, well, Chimera will be an example for this. So while we have a normal attack range of 4, many of our abilities don't really work like that. So let's take it as an example. We have here the initial energy, and here we have a skill range. So every hero has a normal attack range, and they have a skill range. And skill range on Chimera's ult is global. So that means she can hit any tile on the map, doesn't matter how far it is away. Global means it can target wherever. There are quite a lot of heroes that have either significantly different skill ranges than their normal attack range, or already have a global range. For Chimera, the ult is global. We see the range of 4 here for this ability, and we see a range of global once again for this ability. So a lot of her abilities are actually global, other than the normal attack and, well, where is it? The sacrificial orb. Meaning that no matter this of this reduction, even if she can't go to the enemy quick enough, as soon as she will fill her energy, she will actually go ahead and cast her ult, making this essentially completely irrelevant. We can check this out in the stage here. So when we battle, we can deactivate this little cogwheel over here and make our Chimera cast her ult normally. And this is probably, hope they spread up a little bit, that would be rather nice, maybe deactivate the iron ult. And we can see just below we can target them at any point. She's now rather close to the enemy already, but it wouldn't matter, we can just select any valid tile here and actually attack the enemy there. It says out of range, but that's actually a lie. Interesting, they have the wrong name there, because it's not out of range, obviously. It is within range, it is just not a valid target. We can only target enemies with this ult. So this worked out, and this is a global range. If you just go through this menu, you sadly can't see that. So the question now is, how low does a range have to be for us to kinda feel like it would be good to reduce it? So essentially, what is a range that is a disadvantage for a hero? So my point is that as long as we have a range of 3, we are probably still fairly fine. 2 can still be okay. 1 is a real problem for a ranged hero. 1 means we really have to go to the enemy. She will go directly to any enemy, to any melee enemy, to whatever. And this will take a lot of time. 2 can also be kind of bad. Because you kind of will start to move. For 3, it might just mean that there was like a thorn that moved a little bit over and you moved 1 tile forward. So that could be the extent of the effect of this artifact if you still have something like a 3 range. So my point is, it's probably good if the range gets reduced to something like 2 or 1, meaning the hero initially must have a range of 4 or 3. And if the range is longer, let's say 5 or 6, this would probably not be too great, because then we still have a very, very significant range. And despite a little bit of movement, maybe, we probably wouldn't see too great of an effect. So which heroes are actually inflicted by that? And for that, I took a look at some of the meta heroes. And we now have Damon, even as a tank, has a range of 3. So if he would hit, I mean, he would go to 1, but it wouldn't really be bad. We saw Chimera, that is 4. But with global attacks, or a lot of global attacks already. I think it would still not be too great if she got hit, so you maybe want to be aware of this artifact if you craft your PvP comms, because it is potentially a way to nullify her to an extent. And you don't nullify all of her abilities, but you kind of make her walk a little bit towards you, and that could already be bad. Cryonaya with a range of 5 is probably still decent-ish fine. Then I took a look at Siren. Siren, it will probably be completely useless against. We even have a global range here. We have global range there. We have the range of 6 on the Cursed Grasp. We have the range of 6 on the normal attack. So he is probably still fine. And really beyond that, what do you even have? Something like Bonnie maybe still a range of 7. So we are there already on like quite insane range. For something like Athalia, it doesn't even matter. Interesting, that is also something interesting. Specific targetings beyond that. We have global ranges here, of course. But if we have something like Vengeance Charge, we have specific targeting, and then this usually leads also to global range, despite having a range of 1. But we can't go below 1, so that is also impossible, making this a little bit futile. Tasi will run to the enemy anyway, she won't do necessarily attacks from far apart. So there isn't really a hero, I sadly have to say, where I feel like this has a super big impact. Maybe Chimera. But even if the enemy runs an Odie, that is still a 5 range. Though Odie, if he starts to move, he might be a little bit squishy. So that is just the take that I have on this artifact. The interaction with the range is super interesting. I like that. Maybe if we had some more debuffs in that regard, it could be very, very cool. There's one more hope that I have also for the attack speed debuff. I'm looking at a little bit of a thought for debuffs. We already talked about it a little bit. There is an enemy hero coming, or an enemy hero, not really, Velara. If you met her in the story, you might know about her. She is in Saltarine, and you fight her a few times. And I can't give you like a video of the fight, sadly, but what she does is she places 2 enormous circles on your side of the battlefield, and those debuff your attack speed or haste, I don't know it, quite substantially. And combining this substantial debuff that you have already with this curse could be really cool. Then you have like an essentially taken out an enemy without CCing them just because their attack speed or haste is so super low. So this could be fairly fancy. Also, level 30, want to take a look at this. This combines the curses for the first 2 casts. So in PvP, you would have both effects. So the effect of the Sapping Curse and the effect on the Wither Curse on both enemies that are cursed. So that would be pretty cool. I think that could be interesting. I think we are going to see some PvP interaction with this. It's just probably not going to be because of the attack range, unless we see an enemy that has like this little bit of disadvantage and probably a bit low attack range is placed towards the back, then maybe we can see that. I hope they fix the delay on this still. I think it should be the cursor should apply to the enemies that have the position at the beginning of the fight. So like when you start the fight, in our case, the furthest away hero was the Sylvina, frontmost was the Thorn. I think those should get the curses. It might plays out in our situation against Turtle Legs, that his Sylvina gets the curse just because she is more squishy there. Potentially we could take advantage of that and take her out rather swiftly. She's vulnerable already to Ludovic, so that could open up some attack scenarios, but I think it's rather unforeseeable and also think it is not intended. The reason I say that is we also reviewed Coreforge spell, and for Coreforge spell it was literally the same. You were supposed to get unaffected at the start of the battle, and you didn't. You didn't get unaffected at the start of the battle, and this allowed the enemy to CC you with Sylvina. For example, we also fought Sylvina there, the same Turtle Legs team really, because this is like it's not the strongest team. We set this up a long time ago, and it is really great to test. Actually, I really like it because it allows for a little bit more strategy. So yeah, the thing is, I think it is still a bit bugged. So I think those curses are supposed to hit a bit earlier, and this makes a difference. I want you to really keep this effect in mind. I think we can use it later on. If it's really going to be good, I don't know. But I see some PvP potential, especially at level 30. So we are going to see what happens with that, and if some people are going to use it. If there are enemy heroes that really have a nasty disadvantage from this debuff of the attack range, and I hope we see some heroes that also interact with it. Lastly, one word that I want to put out is also, of course, we have Siren in the game. Keep that in mind. Siren will counter your artifact and thus not allow you to use those curses. Those curses will not apply for the first 8 seconds if your enemy has an Mythic +10. Siren, which is a great PvP unit, will not apply for 8 seconds, and after the 8 seconds they will normally be applied. So that is the last thing that I want to keep you in mind. And of course, once again, the shout out to Lootbar. Lootbar is your cheapest source of dragon crystals, and I personally use it as well. It's pretty great. If you register through the link down in the description, you get a 12 and an 8% discount coupon. I think this is still active. This promotion should be run off pretty soon though, so make sure you get this still, and make sure you use the lock-in top-up, as it's quite a lot cheaper than the direct top-up, and definitely can recommend that. So with that, Tell me down below what you think about the Malison spell, and also I want to know which artifact is your favorite artifact so far in this season. Is there maybe even one that wasn't released yet that you are looking forward for? Just tell me that down below, and with that I wish you a great day. I'll see us in the next one.